Okay, let's dive into this. You know the feeling, right? It's 10 p.m., you're fired up, you're mapping out this grand plan for tomorrow. You're going to be a whole new person. But then the alarm goes off, and that motivated person is, well, they're gone. And you're just left wondering, what on earth happened?
I mean, it seriously feels like two completely different people are living in your head. Your 10 p.m. self, that person is a rock star, an ambitious go-getter who's ready to take over the world. They'll sign you up for marathons, volunteer you for that extra project at work, and swear you'll finally clean out the garage. But your 6 a.m. self, that person just wants to smash the snooze button and has no idea who that cruel, overachieving maniac was last night.
So, what is going on here? Why does this happen over and over again? It's a super frustrating cycle, but it turns out you're not just lazy or undisciplined. Neuroscience actually has this fascinating and honestly a little unsettling answer for why that person from last night feels like a complete stranger.
And here's the key. We have to reframe the problem. This isn't some deep character flaw. It's a cognitive glitch. It's a real, genuine quirk in how our brains are wired, and scientists actually have a name for it: the temporal trap.
The fancy scientific term for this glitch is temporal self-displacement, and it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like, which is wild. It's this phenomenon where your brain basically boots your future self out, seeing that person not as you, but as someone else entirely, with the same emotional detachment you'd have for some random person on the street.
And get this, we know this is really happening. Brain scans, fMRIs, they show this in real time. When you think about yourself right now, a part of your brain called the medial prefrontal cortex just lights up. But when you think about your future self, that area goes dark. Instead, a totally different region activates, the one your brain uses when it's thinking about strangers. Your brain is literally processing future you as another person.
And this just nails it, doesn't it? If future you is just some other guy, well, why would you do him any favors? It becomes incredibly easy to load that stranger up with all the hard stuff, the early mornings, the tough workouts, the boring tasks, while present you gets to kick back and chill.
But hold on, that's only half the story. There's another layer to this trap that explains why it feels so darn good to make all those plans, even when we have no intention of following through. It's something called the intention-action gap, and it's powered by a chemical lie.
So here's how this little deception works. The moment you just imagine your future success, picturing yourself crossing that finish line or getting applause for that big project, your brain gives you a little hit of dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical. You get the reward, that buzz of achievement, without doing any of the actual work. So your brain thinks, awesome, job done, and poof, the motivation to actually do the hard part just vanishes.
So your brain gets hooked on the fantasy. Planning is easy, right? It gives you that instant gratification with zero effort. The reality, the actual grind and the sweat, that requires energy from you, your present self, all for a reward that's going to be collected by that stranger we call our future self. From your brain's point of view, that's a terrible deal.
Okay, so our brains are basically wired to sabotage our future selves.
That sounds kind of bleak, but here's the good news. Once you understand the trap, you can actually start to escape it. The whole key is to consciously override this glitch and force your brain to build a connection, to actually empathize with that stranger in the future.
So the first step is all about a mindset shift. You have to stop thinking of tomorrow you as some perfect, idealized superhero with endless willpower. That person doesn't exist. Instead, start thinking of your future self as a friend. A friend who's probably going to be tired, maybe a little stressed, and would really appreciate a little help. So just ask yourself, what can I do right now to make their life a tiny bit easier?
The second solution is much more tactical. Look, the further away a task is, the easier it is for your brain to pawn it off on the stranger. So the fix is to shrink the timeline. Forget about planning for next week or even all of tomorrow. Make the future so immediate that your brain can't pass the buck. You gotta focus on the next 10 minutes.
And this timeline really shows you why this works. A goal for next year? That's just an abstract idea for a completely different person. A goal for tomorrow? That familiar stranger can handle it. But a goal for the next 10 minutes? Whoa, there's no escape. That's still me. The stranger hasn't shown up yet. The responsibility is right here, right now. It's undeniable.
So, the next time you find yourself making these huge, ambitious plans for that stranger you're going to be tomorrow, just stop. Ask yourself this instead. What is one small thing I can do right now, in the next 10 minutes, to be a friend to that person? Because that is how you break the cycle. That is how you finally escape the trap.